Hey, what's up? I'm gonna go through some flow state mobility. I call it that, but essentially what it is just fast-paced yoga. I use it for athletes before they're about to work out, or before they're about to lift, or just like a mobility day that they need to work on their flexibility or mobility without just static stretching. So it's a substitute for like pretty much an active warm-up or a dynamic warm-up, because a lot of times the athletes already do that on the field with their coaches, on the court with their coaches. Almost every day they go through the high knees, A skip, B skip, butt kickers, all that stuff. And so why would they do that again in the gym? And also I didn't want my athletes just going, okay, how about you bike and get your core temperature up for 5-10 minutes, and then we'll do some activation exercises for glute and rotator cuff and stuff. I was like, why can't we incorporate all that into one type of exercise? And that's why these flow states. So this video is just to explain the exercises. So when I program them and you read, okay, I have lunge and twists or whatnot, that you know what it looks like and you know what it's supposed to be working. So without further ado, my roommates begged me to demonstrate this. Just kidding. I asked them to. But yeah, here's the exercises, and they're gonna go through it at like different angles so you can see what it looks like. And we're gonna try to go through this quickly. So the first one is a lunge and twist, and it's actually 3 different things. So the first thing is just a neutral lunge. You're gonna be here, and you're stretching in, and you're sinking the hips, okay? So you're gonna do 5 on each side. This should stretch the adductors and groin area of that front leg. So they're sinking their hips, they're gonna do 5 on each side, and then 5 on the other side, okay? So they're sinking their hips. Then, so like I said, there's 3 things involved in the lunge and twist. The first one's just the normal lunge. The next one, we're stepping up and lunging and twisting towards the knee, okay? So you're gonna do 5 where you twist towards the knee. And then on the other side, 5 where you're twisting towards the knee. Okay, so this one, you could feel a little bit more in that glute of the front leg. And then the last one is gonna be 5 sets where you're twisting away. And so you're gonna feel this in the whole medial side. Try to point your chest, your chin, follow your arms. It's not just your arm moving back, but your whole shoulders. And that's the twist up. So just to recap really quick on the lunge and twist. Lunge and twist is essentially, you're doing 5 normal, 5 twisting towards, and then 5 twisting away. The next exercise is an RDL to overhead squat. A really popular exercise. A lot of people call it a bunch of different things. But essentially what it is you RDL, you'll feel the stretch in your hamstrings and glutes. You squat, push your knees out, hands overhead, so you're doing an overhead squat, and you stand up, okay? So this one, you can modify and hold weight. I wouldn't advise anything over like a 5-pound plate in each hand, or else your posterior thoracic will be fried by the end of it. But yeah, that's the RDL to overhead squat. You're really working on opening those hips. I want on the way up to be in like a front squat position. You're not hinged over like a back squat. And then the next one's a push-up stretch. So this one, you're gonna walk it out so it stretches your calves and hamstrings. Then you're gonna stretch your abs, come back to a push-up position, and then do a push-up plus. So the push-up plus is at the end. They're gonna protract and push their scapulas forward. So, and it's gonna work their serratus anterior. So you're gonna walk it out, stretch the abs, push up, and then plus is that little scapula. And then you walk it back. So if I say do 5 of those, you're doing the ab stretch, you're gonna do a push-up plus, and then you're gonna walk it all the way back every time to stretch those calves and hamstrings. The next one is a lateral lunge. This is probably the easiest one to understand. So you're just gonna take a big sumo squat. You're gonna be upright again, so you're not stretching the hamstrings this time. And you're just gonna lunge over, rock back, and up. 1 rep is doing 1 rep on both sides. So if I say do 10 reps, you're doing 10 each way. So that's the lateral lunge. That's pretty easy to understand. The biggest thing is just don't hinge over the whole time. You're trying to stay upright and sink the hips in. The next one's a laying to seated 90-90. This one's, you've probably seen the laying version. So you're just laying down, your feet are in the 90-90 degrees, and you're gonna lift this top knee up as high as you can while trying to keep this bottom leg down. So you'll feel it in the hips, groins a little bit, and then till the last second, this knee will start coming up, and then you roll back down. And so you'll realize sometimes which leg is actually stiffer. I have problems with my right leg internal rotation, so it's good to figure out which side you need more work on. So it's called laying to seated 90-90 because you do laying at first and then you try to sit upright and you try to go no hands. Some people have to modify and lean back and put their hands, but try to sit up and do the same thing. And you will really feel the stretch if you're doing it right. And this is where I notice one side on that internal rotation is a lot tighter. Perfect. The next one is really easy. Everyone knows this, bird dogs. So you're here, kick the back leg up, opposite hand goes up. So you're gonna do bird dogs. You're trying not to arch the back, so keep that core involved. So you should feel it in the glutes, and then all through this rotator cuff, posterior delt part of the body. So that's bird dogs, and I usually superset that with dead bugs. So the next one's dead bugs. So you're gonna kick up. It's the exact same thing. It's a little bilateral communication, coordination, and you're gonna kick that leg, opposite hand goes up. So that's a dead bug. So the first one's bird dog, and it's on your front. It'll mostly work your posterior chain. And then this one is anterior. You're gonna feel it in your core, dead bugs. But essentially the same thing, just inverted. The next one is hurdlers to Superman. This one, it takes up a lot of room, so you're gonna have to have your athletes move. I call it this because I've only seen track athletes do it really. You're reaching over, stretching that quad, do 2 on each side. So that's the hurdler stretch. And then a Superman is you're gonna hold the Superman position. And you're just going. So hurdlers to Superman. And then the next one is seated glute kickbacks. You guys can come back and do this one. So this one is kind of like the 90-90, but now I'm more at like a 45-degree angle. And you'll feel this in the glute, and you're gonna kick back. You're not just kicking out, but you're kicking back too. So you're gonna try to squeeze that glute that you're using. If you can, try to not put your hands down. This is a great activation. This is a good way to test if your glutes are even firing. If you're starting to feel this in your hips, and maybe even your glute med instead of your glute max, then you go, okay, I need to work on some hip thrusters and some more glute activation, maybe with some bands. So you're gonna do that, kick back. So that's the seated glute kickbacks. The next one's wall sit angels. I don't know if you guys can do this without a wall. Sometimes we have our athletes go back to back. So you guys wanna try this? And you're gonna do a wall sit. And then you're gonna try to do the angel. There we go, that's perfect. So their whole back will be against the wall. Your quads will be firing. Whole back will be against the wall. And you're just doing an angel. So if I say you're doing 10 reps, you're not squatting 10 times, you're doing 10 angels. So you're gonna move your hands up and down 10 times. So that's a wall sit angel. I like to finish with this one, although there's 2 more after this, but normally I like to finish this because my quads get really tight and my hip flexors. But it's just a lunge, and where the other one we were working that front leg, now we're gonna stretch that back leg, and then we're reaching up. So this is gonna be a quad stretch for the back leg. So you really wanna try to stay vertical on that torso. Keep your abs engaged to get a little bit of a posterior tilt on your hips, and stretch those hip flexors as much as possible. Last 2, this one's pretty fun. It's hard to grasp, so we're gonna walk through it. It's called a bear sprawl. So you're in the bear crawl position. Nice here, this is all core, okay? You're gonna kick through, okay? So opposite hand, opposite leg, you're kicking through, then you're turning up to the ceiling, and you're gonna squeeze that glute and press up, okay? So that's 1 rep on one side. Kick through, squeeze the glute and press. So that glute will have to fire, your core will have to hold that whole position. Good. And you'll see like MMA people and wrestlers do this because they're in that sprawl position, and they'll be able to do it quick and smooth. But you can have your athletes hold it and make it a little bit more static and isometric. Holding that position is hard enough. And then the very last one, you can hold a wall, you can hold something. You want to progress to not holding anything, but essentially what it is you're gripping the ground with your feet, and it's just a little bit of hip mobility. So you're going up, you're going to squeeze that glute that's on the ground. Once this knee gets above the hip, then you're opening the door as wide as you can without moving your hips, and then you're internally rotating that knee, and you want that foot to come above that knee if you can, and your whole hip will be firing. Then you're kicking back, and you're bringing it down, okay? Other leg, go up, open that door as far as you can, internally rotate, gripping that ground the whole time with that other foot. I like to do this one barefoot, so that's just we'll just call that a balanced hip mobility. So those are the 12 exercises. You can choose 5 of them before leg day. You could do all 12 on a mobility day. But a great way to get your core temperature up while still working on mobility.
Old ways, new women, gotta keep a balance.